The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the soul of excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
That's their goal. That's their goal, to make sure that only the, quote, right people are voting, to elect, quote, the right leaders. We're not going to stand for it. I will die on the Hill to make sure it doesn't get out of the Senate.
Yes, but their bill isn't voter ID, number one. It is about voter registration. It allows ICE to kick tens of millions of people off the rolls, and they don't tell them until Election Day, and you show up and you say, you're not registered anymore. You're not registered here. You're not on the rolls.
Tens of billions of people will be thrown off of America's voting rolls. That's, of course, Chuck Schumer. Before that, Alex Padilla, who will die on the Hill before he lets this bill get out of the Senate. Welcome, my friends, to the Thursday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. The SAVE Act is one of the things that we will be discussing on this afternoon. With me, ladies and gentlemen, her second appearance here, my dear friend, my beloved friend, and Washington, well, she's a former Washington. She's not up there in the swamp anymore, but she's a political operative supremo, has served in the Capitol, as deep in the heart of legislation, and right now working with freedom caucuses around the country to help bring freedom to more and more people. Welcome, my dear Connie Hair. How are you this afternoon?
I'm great, James. How are you?
I'm doing okay. The SAVE Act, of course, you're the first person that brought to all of our attention the idea that there could be a procedure called the talking filibuster. Thune is not going to do it. Before we do that, though, before we get to any of that, I got something else I got to talk with you about, Connie.
What you got?
All right, let me find the right audio piece for this, because you know him and I know him. Paul Begala. Mm-hmm. Paul Begala was on CNN last night. I know you and I don't watch that network. Well, I don't. I know. I hope you don't.
I don't.
Okay. Anyway, so we look at the pieces. Cut number 2. Listen to this, Connie.
He has spent $15 million in 1 month for ribeye steaks, $6.9 million for lobster tail, $225 million for furniture. He spent more in the month of September than most countries on earth spend in their defense.
Paul, do you believe
all for himself? Lobster tails?
Do you believe
while our troops are eating MREs?
No.
Do
you believe the Secretary of Defense is personally eating all the lobster?
Well, he can't eat
16.
Troops. Oh, really? The troops are getting lobster
frequently.
Brothers Defect has steak and lobster.
How's your steak and lobster?
All right, damn near decent.
How's yours?
I'm ready for war. We're going to war.
What you're hearing now, my friends, are troops being interviewed.
They're getting lobster. You are so full of it.
Over this.
You are so full of it.
And the Democrats, enough. Just bring it down. The Democrats are complaining. You know the troops aren't being fed up. He's spending money. Connie, I've about lost my damn mind. I'm serious. This infuriated me like I have not been infuriated in a long time. Democrats like Begala and others are bitching and moaning to high hell because the troops that have been and are being deployed into harm's way to risk their lives for this nation are being fed ribeye. They're getting special meals, ribeye, lobster, and all sorts of other things. And these troops love it. We see the videos of them eating. They are so appreciative of it. I I'm so mad. I almost got tears coming out of my eyes. I'm seriously about to lose my mind over this. And Democrats are complaining because we are feeding our troops well.
Well, James, the key word in there was September. And I would love to see the parade of horribles that it's called end-of-year spending that these Democrats have spent in the past when these federal agencies and the Department of War is one. They have this really retarded policy where you have to spend all of the money before the fiscal year runs out, or you're going to get your budget cut because you obviously didn't need that money. So I'm sure they did all kinds of drag queen happy hours around the country when they were in charge. But Pete Hegseth chose to spend money on our troops getting to have some fine meals because they're out fighting in war zones and losing their lives, mind you, for this country. So I have no problem with him spending money to feed our troops to make them feel like they're actually appreciated and have a little piece of home and they're not eating canned Spam out in a field somewhere where, they're away from their families and friends. I have no problem with it. Sorry.
I'm telling you, this has made me so angry. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
That these people would just stand and try to ridicule the idea and act in disbelief. And by the way, in all fairness, Pete Hegseth wasn't the first to do this.
No.
Joe Biden did it.
Yep.
Every American president and every administration has on special occasions, especially when they're being deployed, especially when they're about or could be deployed, making sure that our troops get fed, get treated special, for God's sakes. They're getting ready to go off to war.
They go for entire stretches of time where they eat meals ready to eat. And I'm telling you, as a former member of the military, I have opened MREs that were green on the inside, okay? The shelf life's supposed to be like 45 years. How did it turn green? So when they're not out in the middle of nowhere eating out of bags that they have to open with a knife, that they're just terrible MREs. I'm happy that they're getting good, wholesome, solid meals that actually taste good and show that they're appreciated. These people hate our military. They loathe. What did Bill Clinton say? He loathes the military. Well, we don't. We love them. We appreciate them,
Connie,
and we treat them the right way.
There are a lot of people that are hearing that for the first time and don't believe that a president of the United States, that was during that came out during his campaign for the presidency. And they found the quote of Bill Clinton saying, "I loathe the military."
Yes, it was in something that he wrote, and they could not refute it.
Right.
So
okay,
that's how they feel. So there you are.
All right, let's talk about Thune. Carlos, please play Connie. Please, I'm sorry to torture. Play as much of this as. Play as much of Thune as we can stand. When you've had enough, Connie, just yell.
Okay.
Here's Thune.
Mr. President, later today, we will finish up the 21st Century Road to Housing Act, the latest piece of legislation in Republicans' affordability agenda. And next week, I will be bringing the Save America Act to the floor, and we will be having a full and robust debate. So, Mr. President, what is the Save America Act? It is a package of common sense policies, the kind of common sense policies that should get an automatic yes vote from literally every member of this body. At the core of the Save America Act is the requirement that individuals provide proof of citizenship to register to vote and then show an ID when they go to the polls. In other words, it would require Americans to demonstrate that they're eligible to vote and that they are who they say they are when they go to do so. Not to keep using the word
have you had enough
sense.
of this yet? You have?
It's pretty common.
Okay, thanks. I've had enough.
Yes.
All right. Earlier this week, he said we don't have the votes. We don't have the votes for we don't have the votes to do a talking filibuster, and we don't have the votes to get rid of the filibuster. So I'm sorry, I have to be the bearer of bad news. It's up to me to explain to all you stupid people out there the math. The math is that we don't have the votes, and we can't try. We don't even want to try to get the votes. We don't even want to try to put Democrats in a position because, and they said this, Connie, they said they did not want to have senators like Susan Collins forced to take difficult votes when she's so vulnerable, and that's one of the reasons that they don't want to have this extended talking filibuster, because it's never been proven to work in anything. It's never been proven to work, and it would put Susan Collins and others in a really bad position of having to when they start putting on amendments, they could embarrass Susan Collins.
Well, that it hasn't worked, that it's never worked, is a lie. The 1964 Civil Rights Act, they had a soft 40 when they went into that, when they put that bill on the floor. They barely had 40 people who supported it. And they put it on the floor and debated it, and it lasted for 2 months, James, 2 months that Republicans fought to get that bill passed, to give equal rights to voting that the Democrats of the South didn't want at the time. And they actually got enough votes at a higher level for cloture. They had 67 votes for cloture. They had 71 vote to pass the Civil Rights Act, because the more they made Democrats defend black people shouldn't have the right to vote, they shouldn't have the protections of the vote. And now the same thing, they're fighting that American citizens should not have their vote protected. They should not have their vote diluted by people who are not legally allowed to vote. And they don't want any mechanisms put into place to make sure that American citizens are the only ones registering to vote, to make sure that you have to prove who you are, who you say you are when you go to vote. Same thing. You know, they put this on the floor. They're going to have to defend it. They're going to have to work hard, because guess what, James? There are two ways to break a filibuster. One is to file for cloture, which is a block that if you file for cloture, you have 30 hours of debate, and then you have to meet a 60 vote threshold. That is one way. The other way is to put the bill on the floor with a simple majority vote, which they have the opportunity to do for this bill, and I can explain to you why if you want to know. But they do, and they've admitted it now, even though the National Review came out, no, they have to have 60 votes. No, that's crap. They can put it on the floor. It's a message from the House. They put it on the floor, and they start the debate. The other way to break this filibuster is exhaustion. If someone keels over on the floor, or Democrats don't have another speaker who can speak, they are limited to 2 speeches by each person on one bill on one legislative day. And guess what? That legislative day can last for as long as it takes. If they don't adjourn, all they have to do, if somebody moves to adjourn, you vote it down. It's going to take a lot of work, James, and they don't want to work. It's going to take some work.
Connie, wait. Hold it. Don't go away, because we got more work to do. We got to stop first and, do the thing.
Okay.
James Golden and Snerdley, Connie Hair is with me. Don't go away.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
With me, ladies and gentlemen, Connie Hair, one of the most brilliant political operatives alive, anyway, in the four corners of this world. Connie, we could go through the weeds and in detail, but the bottom line is this. You're saying the Senate can do a filibuster. John Thune says, we don't have the votes. You're saying it could come through a message through the House. So instead of focusing all this attention on John Thune, who doesn't seem, for whatever reason, to want to do this, why isn't the attention being focused to Speaker Johnson? Speaker Johnson, can you push this through the House to get it to the Senate and then try to force them to act?
It's already in the Senate. It's already at the Senate as a message that only requires 50 votes to bring it to the floor plus JD. So, I mean, it's done. The House did their work.
Okay.
Remember in Obamacare when the original Obamacare bill was actually a veterans housing bill?
Yes, and they gutted the language and then stuck in this. Yeah, they gutted all that language and stuck in this massive Obamacare and sent it to the Senate.
Exactly. That's what the House did with the SAVE Act and sent it back to the Senate. It is not in committee. It is sitting at the Senate desk
Connie,
waiting to be called up.
Why doesn't Thune know this, know that he can do it?
He does.
Then why isn't he doing it?
Because he's saying he doesn't have the votes for cloture for 70 votes to get off of debate. And I can explain that to you. I'd be happy to do it, but he's wrong. He is trying to say that we don't have the bills, the votes to pass it, so we should not undertake the endeavor that it's going to take. And I can explain that.
Look, I understand cloture and 60 votes for cloture. I get it. But hold on, because we got to go through this a little bit more. Something's not making sense to me here with Thune.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense.
It's hard, James.
Oh, man. James Golden, Snerdley. And we have other stuff to speak about as well. You know, the House did pass a bill, 89-10 on housing today. We can briefly touch on that. There's more stuff, though. There's a lot more stuff. So whatever you do, keep it right there. Fastest hour in American media continues. James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Stay right there, please.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
With me, political, speaking about sweeter all the time. That describes my dear friend, Connie Hair, one of the most amazing political operatives in America. Connie, all right, please listen to this. I know we had to torture earlier and listen to Thune, but we got to hear this, because this, cut 18, Carlos.
Here. Do you run a risk of being on the wrong side of President Trump in your resistance to do this talking filibuster, tying the Senate in knots for weeks?
We don't have the votes either to proceed, get on a talking filibuster, nor to sustain one if we got on it. But that is just a function of math. And there isn't anything I can do about that. I mean, I understand the President's got a passion to see this issue addressed, as we all do.
Does he understand that, though?
Well, we've conveyed that to him, but we will continue to make that argument, because I think it's important that everybody understand that this really is it's about the votes. It's about the math. And I'm
okay, so
for better
Connie,
or worse, I'm the one who has to be
enough. Connie, he is directly saying, I don't have the votes to start a filibuster, a talking filibuster, or to sustain it. You have said, and you've explained to us, he doesn't need the votes to start the filibuster, the talking filibuster.
No, he's got a message sitting at the desk. He's got enough votes to get onto that. I think that is what it's just simple majority. But I think that we got to that point because of what President Trump did to John Cornyn. when he said, if you I'll give you my endorsement if you get the SAVE Act passed. And then Ken Paxton came forward and said, if he passes the SAVE Act, I'll drop out of the race. So, we are really putting the pressure on individual senators who think they can hide behind process because nobody understands it. But you go on to X and you can read anonymous people out there in the hinterland, they're understanding Senate process better than the National Review and the Wall Street Journal writers, because they're actually reading all of Rachel Bovard's work, who is a superstar in Senate process. And it's just amazing. They hide behind, they say we don't have the votes, because normally they file for cloture. They need 60 votes to get on the bill, so they can limit debate to 30 hours. That's what cloture does. You file cloture, you get on the bill, and then 30 hours later, you vote for cloture again to end debate, and then you vote for final passage. That's the normal path that bills take, because the Senate has grown lazy. That was a procedure that was set into place so debate couldn't go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And that was done in 1917. That was a rare occurrence to use that, because, when you had a determined minority that wanted to stop something like the Civil Rights Act, you used cloture to be able to stop debate. Now they're using it for everything, and they've grown lazy. That's why you have all of the septuagenarians and the octogenarians permeating the Senate, because it used to be a younger man's game where you had to have the physical stamina to debate, make your case, and then up or down once debate was exhausted. They created a backroom way with cloture to end debate after 30 hours, and it usually doesn't even go to 30 hours.
All right.
So that's what cloture is. It's a block.
I understand, Connie. Believe me, I know you're not.
He's talking about.
I understand that.
He doesn't
but
have
he's
the votes
saying,
for cloture to end debate. He doesn't need them. Exhaustion ends a debate too. But our side, he's saying, doesn't have the
he
stamina
doesn't want to try.
Right.
He doesn't want to try.
Right.
This is what I don't understand. Democrats fight for everything. They will fight a losing battle with never-ending energy until everyone's sick of it, and they still fight.
Well, it's going to expose a lot of things in the Senate that they don't want exposed. I think first and foremost, it's never taken 70 votes to pass or 60 votes to pass the bill. It's never taken that. That's one major thing that's going to be exposed. You just have to be willing to actually do the debate. The other major thing it's going to expose is how old and decrepit a lot of these people are. And I'm not being cruel, James. They are. They don't have the stamina. So when you put this bill on the floor and you have to defend it, that means 51 senators, when they have a quorum call to get more than half the 51 required to do business, they're going to have 51 Republicans come to the floor night or day. Actually, probably 50, because they have to have at least one Democrat on the floor, but you have to have an operating quorum. And it's gonna be physically exhausting, but
Connie,
that's the point.
I got it. But Connie, if he's not going to do it, if he doesn't want to try, if he will not try, it's dead. And he knows it's dead. And he knows it's going to die. And he refuses to. This man refuses to try. How does this get passed if he won't even freaking try to make it happen?
Well, he says he's bringing it to the floor. He says that they're going to have a vigorous debate, but here's the key thing to let you know whether this is an exercise in failure theater or if it's for real. He says he's bringing it to the floor. We're going to have rigorous debate. He does not need to file cloture, okay? If he does, then it's a fraud. He doesn't need cloture at all. But if he files it, and here's the fun part, if you want to get just a little deeper into process, he needs 16 signatures on a motion for cloture. Not one Republican should sign on to that. We should force him to do it with all Democrat signatures. He needs 16. We have got to get in the faces of our senators, to quote Barack Obama. We have got to get on the phone, call these people and say only American citizens can vote. And we have to put the processes in place to force that accountability, because they're not doing it. It's already the law, but it's a law with no teeth, no accountability, no requirements to show proof of citizenship when you register anywhere. And as a matter of fact, the federal government blocks it. You cannot put it on a form requiring to show proof of citizenship to register to vote for a federal election. That is a fact, because the Elections Assistance Commission has to do the forms, and they have not done it in the decade since the Supreme Court decision in Arizona that blocked it.
Okay, next thing.
Unpack all of that.
This is one of those days, Connie, where I am just really so frustrated. I'm frustrated and angry behind this attack on military meals for our service people by Democrats. Yeah. Then you have the shutdown. Again, they voted again today, 27th day of the shutdown. It failed, 51, the majority, to 46. But because they don't have the 60 votes, we have TSA workers that are not being paid. We have Coast Guard not being paid. FEMA workers not being paid. We have the Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security closed while we are at war because the Democrats refused to fund it. And then we get the same old thing. John Thune is accusing the Democrats of stonewalling White House negotiators, and it just goes on, but it's still closed. It's still closed.
Yeah.
Cut number 9,
they can do
Carlos.
Reconciliation. They can do another reconciliation bill and fix that. It's just going to take a little while.
In Houston, for example, officials at Hobby Airport are telling passengers to show up 3 to 4 hours before their flights just to make sure they get through TSA checkpoints on time.
I'm very empathetic to the people that are having to deal with the 3, 4, 5 hour lines, because obviously it's spring break.
My flight is at 5 o'clock and I'm here at, 1:30? So I'm trying to not get stuck.
I expected it in a third world country, but here, how long does it take to resolve an issue with the government? It's not, to me, it's shocking.
And this morning, DHS says more than 300 of its TSA workers have quit since February at the start of this partial government shutdown. CBS News reports absences have more than doubled, and Denver Airport is even asking for donations of grocery store and gas gift cards for TSA workers who are now set to miss a full paycheck tomorrow.
Yeah. Now, you said, Connie, that they can fix this on reconciliation, but it would take... they just put up a reconciliation bill.
A reconciliation bill is a bill that originally had been used to just reconcile the difference between Senate budgets and House budgets when they were off by a few dollars or cents but they have
billions.
Used those. Those are a majority. It's another privilege bill that only takes a majority to pass the Senate, no cloture. So it has to be financial in nature, and there are ways to do it. And I've heard talk of them doing another reconciliation bill quickly if this drags on. But, I would hope that they would do that. I would hope that they would do that quickly. If that's going to be the case, that the Democrats are going to continue to block all of the things that the Department of Homeland Security does that are not funded right now. That's insane.
Before we leave, Connie, because time is running out on this, the fastest hour in American media, I want you to hear a story that came out of New York from the local fire. I just want you to hear it. You don't even have to comment if you don't want to, but I just want you to hear it. Cut 10,
You just love
Carlos.
to spring things on me.
Yes, I love to spring things on you. Here it is.
5's Morgan Mackay here now with what we learned today. Morgan.
Hey, Steve and Natasha. So City Comptroller Mark Levine painting a grim picture of the city's economic future, reporting that the city lost 38,000 private sector jobs over the last year. Today, the City Council kicked off their first budget hearing, and already there are mixed numbers. Levine testifying today that the city's budget gap will now likely be $7.3 billion over 2 years, almost $2 billion more than what the mayor's office has been projecting. Levine says he is strongly against the mayor's proposal to raise property taxes, pointing to how it will make the city's fiscal future even more uncertain. But he does think the state should give the city more money each year by changing the local aid formula. When asked about the proposal to raise taxes on millionaires and corporations, Levine kept the door open but was cautious.
Everything has to be on the table, but I also want to be cautious because we're relying on the financial sector to continue to show strength in order to meet our revenues. And if we undermine that, we could be in a deeper hole. So I want to be very careful that we don't do anything in our tax policy that would slow down this key sector that we need to pay for important programs for New Yorkers.
Now, usually the mayor's budget director will kick off testimony at the first council budget hearing, but City Hall says that the director will testify later in the month because he is fasting for Ramadan.
What a goat rope. You know what a goat rope is, huh?
Oh, I don't know what a goat rope is.
And you rope them. Well, I wonder why I was seeing so many ads of late for the Texas Stock Exchange.
Carlos, would it be possible for you to just play the last 15 seconds of that last thing that we did, or 16, 17 seconds? I just want, if it's possible. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, usually the mayor's budget director will kick off testimony at the first council budget hearing, but City Hall says that the director will testify later in the month because he is fasting for Ramadan.
Okay. Y'all got a mess up there.
I'm not laughing at that, but I have friends that are devout Muslims. I do. I love, and what am I saying it like I do? Of course I do. I've all my life.
Yeah.
They fast, but they go to work.
Yeah.
They work.
Yeah.
They work. They don't take off work and just say, "Oh, we're not going to work for the month of Ramadan."
That's yeah, typical for
New York
progressives. But you have a birthday today that you should acknowledge.
What's my birthday today? I should acknowledge. I know.
Babu. She's 9 years old today.
Babu, my Babu is 9.
She's
Folks,
9.
Connie
I'm looking at her right now. Little Yorkie.
Has got
beautiful.
The sweetest little Yorkie you've ever seen in your life.
That's
and Babu
right.
loves James, and James loves Babu.
Oh, she loves you.
Indeed. Okay, Connie, thank you so much for being with us. Connie, maybe Saturday morning, and see if Rachel could, maybe you and Rachel on Saturday morning, maybe?
Oh, Rachel's great. I'll hook you up, man.
Can all the three of us talk, maybe Saturday morning?
We'll check it out with her.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Connie Hair, for explaining so much to us about the ins and outs. Amy Winehouse, television debut on The Late Show with Letterman on this day in 2007. Boy, talk about a career that came and went so quick and so talented. Snerdley here. Don't go away.
Rush. This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It's the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush.
Now, here's James Golden.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, in Washington State, I warned you this was coming. Yesterday, after a debate, they passed a theft program to steal money. They're calling it a tax for people who just earn over $1 million. They want 9.9% annual income. They want to take 10% of their money just because they were successful. I was texting with Rhonda Schrock, America's Small Caffeinated Mom, during the break, and about the TSA workers and all the other federal workers who are not being paid. And she says it pains her. And I said, yeah, I know. It pains me too. But you have to remember it this way, folks. Democrats have it in their political DNA. They are used to making people work without being paid. It is their peculiar, as they say, institution that solidified that. Took a civil war to get them, but they haven't stopped the mentality. They're used to making people work without being paid for it. Rick Astley, number one, 1988. We got to go. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me. God willing, back tomorrow. Until then, I bid you adieu. We always take the chance to rickroll you when we can. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?